Good morning to everyone. In this subject of manufacturing technology, we are talking about foundry technology. And in that, so far, we have discussed so many things regarding many things, okay, regarding the pattern allowances, okay, types of pattern. Then we have talked about molding sand, okay, various types of molding sands, its property, core, types of core. Then in last lecture, we have talked about the steps involved in mold making. So, in mold making, first we put that pattern and drag on a bottom board. Then we fill the sand, okay, all around the pattern. Then we turn it around so that this aligning key that will come up, and in that align key we fix the pope, as well as we fix the second half of the pattern. We put the sprue and riser pin, and again we fill the sand, and then we deassemble it, and then this gate is designed, as well as the pattern that will be taken out. This sprue and riser is taken out so that we can have the hollow cavity over here, and then both these pop and drag are joined so that we can have a hollow cavity, and that is how we prepare a mold. Now, important topic that we are going to study, it is the gating system. As you know that we have to fill this hollow cavity, okay, because this is our product. This hollow cavity which is generated over here, which is to be filled by the metal. So what is required? The requirement is that anyhow we have to take the molten metal up to here. Okay, so for that we have to create some path. Okay, we have to create some path. Okay, so this is the path from which this molten metal will flow inside, then it will be flow here, and then it will be go into the hollow cavity. Okay, so that flow path of the molten metal, which is the gating system. Okay, so that is the gating system. So gating is the term applied to the method of forming channels in the sand through which the molten metal travels from the sprue hole to the mold. Okay, from this is the sprue hole to the mold. This is the mold, and out of the mold to the riser, and at the same time it is also fed inside the riser so that we can have a surety of completely fill the hollow cavity. Okay, so this is the reason, or this is the purpose of gating system. Okay, so what it will do, it will form a channel in the sand through which the molten metal travels, and from the sprue hole to the mold, and at the same time it will come out from the riser. Gating system refers to all channels by means of which the molten metal is delivered to the mold cavity. Okay, so all this vertical, as well as this horizontal, as well as this riser, okay, so all this is the part of a gating system. Okay, so gating system refers all channels. Okay, so here we have total, as you can see here, this is we have total 3 channels. First one is the this vertical channel, this one is the horizontal channel, as well as this riser. Okay, so all these channel that will be a part of this gating system. Okay, and not only this, but any channel which used to deliver the molten metal to the cavity, that is the part of a gating system. Since the way in which liquid metal enters the mold has a decided influence on the quality and soundness of the casting. Okay, so this is very important. because the soundness of the casting means the either your casting is well prepared or not. Okay, whatever your final product, that is good or it has certain defect. Okay, so it is decided by the way from how the molten metal which enter into the mold. Okay, so if the path that we have provided to enter the molten metal which is not prepared well, so definitely it will going to influence your quality. Okay, so that's why the gating system is one of the important part of this casting process, and the different passages for molten metal are carefully designed and produced. Okay, it should be carefully designed and they should be carefully produced. So the gating system has following components. First one is a pouring cup or basin. Second one is a sprue. Third is a runner. Fourth is a gate, and fifth one is a riser. Okay, so these five components. Okay, and the combination of all these five system, which is termed as a, just a minute, all these five components. Okay, that is the part of a gating system. So okay, so one by one we are going to see all this one. So first, if you see in this diagram here, this upper portion from which the molten metal that will be poured into the uh, gating system, that part is known as a pouring basin. Okay, and pouring cup. So generally you have seen that the basin has a shape like this. It is widened at the top, okay, and narrower at the bottom. Okay, so it has a certain shape like this. So this is the pouring cup and this is the pouring basin. Okay, so this is the first part. Then second is the sprue. This whole vertical straight vertical channel. Okay, it is not straight but it is a vertical channel like this. Okay, so this one is a sprue. Then this horizontal channel which is known as a runner. Okay, this horizontal channel which is runner, and when this sprue and this runner meet with each other, there we have a sprue basin, a sprue base. Okay, at the bottom we have a sprue base. Then all the sideways through which the runner is connected with the casting, that is known as a gates. And finally this is our casting, means this is the object that we require, and this whole object is completely filled, and then the molten metal that will comes into the riser. Okay, so this final part is a riser. So these five components that the gating system consists: pouring basin and pouring cup, sprue, runner, gates, and riser. So one by one we are going to discuss in detail about all these components of the gating system. So first, pouring cup and pouring basin. So a pouring cup is a funnel shaped cup which form the top portion of the sprue. Okay, so in that sprue, it is an integrated part of the sprue. Okay, so on that top of the sprue we have a shape, funneled shape cup. Okay, and it make easier for the ladle or crucible operator to direct the flow of molten from crucible or sprue. Okay, so this is our ladle or crucible. Okay, so if we have a direct straight path like this, okay, so then it is very difficult to pour exactly in that uh, uh, circular hole that we have to fill the molten metal, because the diameter of the flow that sometime may not be exactly match with the diameter of that hole. So there will be chance that the flow of the metal that may be go here or even here. And second possibility, that if the flow directly goes inside, then due to that higher velocity of this molten metal, it may erode your sand. Okay, so to reduce this, what we require a smooth flow of the molten metal, and to get that smooth flow, we have a pouring cup which is having a funneled shape, and the pouring basin. Okay, so the molten metal is not directly poured into the mold cavity, as I told earlier, that the molten metal that will not going to directly poured into the mold cavity. It is poured into the pouring basin, which act as a reservoir from which it moves smoothly into the sprue. Okay, and that's why as I told you, if you directly go, okay, it may erode your sand, but we require a smooth flow. So here we have a pouring basin. Okay, so in that is pouring basin, through that pouring basin, the flow of the metal that will be having a smooth flow, and it prevents the slag from entering the mold cavity. Okay, so this is also important thing, slag. So slag, it is the layer of a material which is generated due to the cooling. Okay, so that slag, it is, if it will go inside, then it may create a some defects. Okay, so that's why we have to prevent that slag to entering into the mold cavity, and it is prevented by the pouring basin. It holds back the slag and dirt. Okay, so that's not only slag, it will also prevents the dirt or the foreign particles, okay, which float on the top, and allow only the clean metal to enter into the sprue. And the basin is cut in various shapes into the cope directly. Okay, so sometime we can make a separate sprue, a separate basin, and in some case it will be an integrated part of the basin. Okay, so it may be depends upon the requirement. Okay, so that may be separately made, or it may be the integrated part of the sprue itself. Okay, so that depends upon the requirement. So the pouring basin, the what is the purpose of this pouring cup and pouring basin? It will allow smooth entering or smooth uh, movement of the molten metal into the sprue. Okay, and as well as it will eliminate, or it will prevent the slag and dirt to enter into the sprue. Okay, so that's why we use a pouring cup and a pouring basin. Okay, so this is the first part. Then second one is a sprue. Okay, so this is the sprue. The sprue is the channel through which the molten metal is brought into the parting line where it enters the runner and gate. Okay, so sprue, it is a channel through which the molten metals is brought into the parting line. Okay, generally the here, if you see this diagram, so this is our parting line, this line is our parting line. So from top to up to that parting line, we have to take the molten metal. Okay, so that flow of the molten metal up to that parting line is possible by use of a sprue. The sprue may be square or round and is generally tapered downward to avoid aspiration of air and metal damage. Okay, so this is very important point. This is very important. What that sprue has, the sprue has a tapered downward shape. Tapered downward shape. So if you see in this diagram, if you see in this diagram, you can see that it is tapered. It is not straight like this. It is not straight like this, but it is having a tapered shape like this. Okay, it is having a taper shape like this. Okay, so why this taper shape is important? Because it will eliminate the aspiration of air. Aspiration of air, it is a very big topic, but I will tell you in short here. If it is if it is a straight, then what happened, that if whatever the molten metal which is entering over here, okay, so that the movement of that molten metal, that will trap some air here, okay, and that entrapped air with molten metal, that will go inside the hollow cavity. Okay, that will go inside the hollow cavity. Okay, so here we have a hollow cavity, and in that one there may be a chance of formation of bubbles due to that air which is trapped into the molten metal. So what we require, we require the shape or design such a way that the air which is not trapped into the molten metal, and for that one this taper is provided, so that when that molten metal which is enter into that sprue, or it is passing through that sprue, due to that taper shape, the aspiration effect is eliminated. Okay, so the bubble will not trapped, air bubble is not trapped, and we have only a pure metal which is entering into the hollow cavity, so that the chance of that generation of defect which is eliminated. And that's why this sprue which is made up of a taper shape, and it has a square and round. Okay, so if you see in the top view, the shape of the sprue, that may be square or it may be round. Okay, so it depends. Okay, you can see here it is a round. Okay, but it may also be used square sprue. Sprue up to 20 diameter are round in section, whereas large sprue are generally rectangular. Okay, so where we use a rectangular and where we use round section, it has a specific certain limit. Okay, so up to 20 diameter we can use a round in section. Okay, but for a large sprue we have to consider a rectangular shape. And in a rectangular shape there is a less turbulence effect. Okay, so the turbulence effect is also important. Due to the turbulence effect, the flow may erode your sand, and when the sand that is integrated into the molten metal, it again cause a defect, and that's why we have to reduce the turbulence. We have to make a smooth flow, and that smooth flow is generally obtained by a rectangular sprue. But again, the making of rectangular sprue is quite some difficult as compared to round. Okay, so both has certain advantage and limitation of using that shape. So this is the sprue. Then third part is a runner. Third part is a runner. In a large casting, molten metal is generally carried out from the sprue base to several gates around the cavity through a passage which is called as a runner. Okay, so here if you see, so if it is a large casting, in that one we have a runner. Okay, and if it is a small casting, then we have directly gate. Okay, so it depends. Generally in a large casting we have to provide as a runner. So in a large casting, molten metal is generally carried out from the sprue base to the several gates. Okay, so here we have a different gates. This is gate 1, gate 2 and gate 3. Okay, so the molten metal that should reach to each and every gate, gate number 1, 2 as well as 3. Okay, and that's why we require to flow whatever the molten metal which is at here, which is to be equally or evenly distributed to all the gates, and for that one we require a gate. Okay, so runner. So this runner that will connect with the gates. Depending upon the shape of the casting, the runner may be located in cope or drag part. Okay, so this is here. If you see this runner, suppose if you consider this is the runner. Okay, so the runner that may be either in the drag part, means the bottom part, or on the cope part. Okay, so that is depends upon the shape and size as well as the manufacturing requirement. Then to avoid aspiration and turbulence, it should be streamlined. Okay, so it is very important, and for that generally we use a chalk. Okay, so this is the chalk. Okay, sprue base, or it is also known as a chalk. Chalk, that is the temporary storage of the molten metal at the bottom of the sprue. Okay, and that will reduce the turbulence as well as aspiration, and whatever the flow that will become a streamlined. Okay, so that is the use of a runner. Then fourth part is a gate. A gate is a channel which connects a runner with the mold cavity through which molten metals flow to the mold cavity. Okay, so here this is the channel which is connected with the runner. Okay, and from that runner the molten metal will flow into that hollow cavity or the casting that what we require. The location and size of the gates are so arranged that they can fill liquid metal to the casting at a rate consistent with the rate of solidification. So it is very important, because as we start pouring the molten metal, its solidification will start. And if the gating system is not proper, then what happen? That molten metal will not, if the gating system is not proper, then the molten metal will freeze in between. It will not reach up to this hollow casting, and it will freeze in between over here. And if it is freeze over here, then no molten metal will flow, as well as you are not able to get a casting. That's why the gating system having a shape and size and design such a way that as the molten metal will enter, it should reach here in a minimum time, so that the solidification process that do not affect into that area. Okay, solidification will start, or it will be generally conducted at the position where we require, and for that one we have to flow the molten metal as quickly as possible, and that's why these are very important. More than one gate is employed to feed a fast freezing casting. Okay, so generally in a large casting, if we have only one gate, then it will take very long time to fill this, and when the time will increase, your solidification process that will start early and it may cause some defect. Okay, so to completely fill it properly, we have more than one gates in a big casting to properly fill it. The gates should not have sharp edges, as they may break during pouring and thus carrying with molten metal into the cavity. Okay, so it should not have a sharp edges. It should, all the shape or the edges that should be smooth, so that the pouring cavity that will be filled properly, and the gates should be located where they can be easily removed without damaging the casting. So it is also important. We have because after that we have to remove it. After making, we have to remove it. So to remove that, it should be located in such a way that it can be easily removed without damaging the casting. Okay, the ingate in the end of the gate where it is joining the mold cavity and through which the molten metal will introduce into the mold cavity. Okay, so that is known as the ingate. So this portion, this this one, this one, where the gate and the casting, okay, the gate and casting cavity, they are connected with each other. That portion, that is known as the ingate. Okay, that is known as the ingate. Okay, so you have to just remember that what is gate and what is ingate. Okay, this whole system, that is the gate, but the connection of these gates and casting, that is termed as an ingate. Okay, so that is important. So ingate is the end of the gate. It is the end of the gate where it joins with the mold cavity and through which the molten metal will introduce into the mold cavity. Okay, and that is termed as an ingate. The leading edge of the molten metal flowing in a stream follow the path of least resistance and continues to build up kinetic energy. Okay, so it is important. The leading edge of the molten metal flowing into the stream follows the path of least resistance. Means when, if if we consider over here, if we started the molten metal pouring from here, okay, so whatever the top means the leading edge of the molten metal, that should be flow without resistance. Okay, it should be flow without resistance, and if it is have a low resistance, then it should have a higher kinetic energy, and if it is have a higher kinetic energy, then it will be able to reach up to this casting. Okay, so that is important, that the molten metal which is entering into that cavity, that should have a least resistance. It should have a minimum resistance so that it can build up maximum kinetic energy. And if the runner extension is used, the kinetic energy may be absorbed, hence causing a smoother flow of metal in the runner and into the mold cavity. Okay, so as I told earlier that we have to provide a least resistance, and as we provide a least resistance, it should have a high kinetic energy. It is required, but that due to that high kinetic energy, what happened, that it may erode your sand. Okay, if it is have a high kinetic here, high kinetic energy, due to that high kinetic energy, whatever the sand may be around this area, that may be erode, and that sand that will flow into the hollow cavity with the molten metal. So what is required, we have to reduce that kinetic energy at the end. Okay, up to this point we require a kinetic energy. From here to up to this point we require a kinetic energy, but at the end that kinetic energy should be reduced, and for that we require absorbers that will smoothen the flow. The gate ratio is the ratio of sprue base area to the addition of total runner area and total ingate area. Okay, so that is the gating ratio. Okay, so gating ratio is important criteria to design the gating system. It is the ratio of sprue base area. This is the sprue base area. This is the sprue base area, and with that addition of total runner area and total ingate area. Total runner area means this is the total runner area and this is the total ingate area. Okay, and the ratio of this with respect to this, it is told as a gating ratio, and gating ratio is very important. Choke is a part of a gating system which has the smallest cross section area. It functions to control the flow rate of the molten metal and to hold back slag foreign particles and float these into the cope side runner. Okay, so as I told you earlier, this is the chalk. Here this is the chalk. It will perform all the tasks what we discussed over here. Okay, it has a smaller cross section area and it will control the flow. Okay, and it will also hold the back slag as well as foreign particles. So this is the gate. Then in that gate we have a different types of gate. Okay, first is a parting line gate, second one is a top gate, and uh, then we have a bottom gate. Okay, as well as side gate. Okay, but the detail of that gate that we'll see in next lecture, because here we are just only talking about the main component of the gating system. Okay, and final component of the gating system is a riser. Okay, as we talked earlier, there are total 5 components: pouring basin, sprue, runner, and gate. We have talked about these 4 things: pouring basin, this is the pouring basin, sprue, runner, gate, and finally we have the riser. Okay, so what is the use of the riser, that we will discuss over here. So a riser is a passage of sand made in the cope to permit the molten metal to rise above the highest point in the casting after the mold cavity is filled. Okay, so if you see in this figure, suppose this is the pouring basin, this is the sprue, this is the runner, and through which the molten metal is filled. And after filling the molten metal, the metal will rise up to the highest point into the uh, riser. Okay, this metal in the riser compensate the shrinkage as the casting solidified. Okay, so we have a shrinkage allowance, as we have already studied in our pattern design. Okay, so in that one, the shrinkage, the solid shrinkage and liquid shrinkage, the liquid shrinkage and solid gas shrinkage, that will be compensated by this riser that we have told at that time. Okay, so here to compensate all this shrinkage, we require this riser. And what are the functions that a riser will follow? Okay, so to feed metal to solidify casting so that the shrinkage cavities are got rid of. Okay, so this is very important. It will it will fill the metal at the shrinkage. It permits the escape of air and mold gases as the mold cavity is being filled with the molten metal. So as because here we know that the molten metal is flowing. Now as the molten metal will flow, whatever the air which is over here, that has to be escaped. So from where it will be escaped? It will be escape from the riser. Okay, so as the molten metal will flow, whatever the gas or steam or gases, that will be escape from this riser. Okay, so that is also given, this space is also provided by the riser. It promotes directional solidification. So directional solidification is also important. If there is an uneven cooling, then what happen? There will be chance of a generation of thermal stress, and thermal stress, it is a one kind of defect. So to eliminate that, what we require? We require a directional solidification. Also, it shows that the mold cavity can be completely filled or not. Okay, so it also guaranteed, or it will give you the idea that whether this molten metal is completely filled or not. Because if the molten metal is not completely filled, then no metal is going to rise here. But as the metal is start rising in that riser and it will reach at the top, you will confident that the whatever the molten metal which is completely filled by the molten metal, and after solidification we can have a solid product. Okay, so it will give you a idea that the whether the cavity is completely filled or not. So these are the purpose for which we employ a riser into the gating system. A casting solidifying under the liquid metal pressure of the riser is comparatively sound. Okay, so it is important. A casting solidified under the liquid metal pressure of the riser. Liquid metal pressure of the riser is comparatively sound, because as we know that here we have a liquid which is filled, and the liquid has a certain downward pressure, gravitational pressure, and due to that pressure, whatever the casting that we get over here, which is become a very sound, okay, without any defect. And according to the location of riser, the riser may be classified as a top riser and side riser. Okay, so that what we are going to discuss in our next lecture, that what is the use of a top riser, what is the use of a side riser, as well as we also going to study about the different types of gate. Okay, we have studied about the basic concept of gate, but what are the various types of gate, and how it will be used in various conditions, as well as different classification of riser, that we are going to discuss in our upcoming lecture. Okay, so in this lecture we have studied about the importance of gating system, we have studied about the components of gating system, and how these components like pouring basin, sprue, runner, gate, and riser, which are very important in a gating system design, as well as all these components are very important to having a sound casting without any defect. And that's why the gating system is that's play very important and crucial role into the uh, casting process. So